This is video 86 of 101. This video is about nature. Nature is one of my favorite things. And today's video is going to be about nature. And I know when you think of nature, you just think of like trees and camping and rivers and mountainscapes and like all this beautiful stuff, which is totally true. That's obviously nature. People are like, oh, like I'm so removed from nature. So let's break that down. Okay, have you ever seen a tree? Have you ever breathed air? Okay, obviously you have. Do you breathe air? Do you drink water? Do you walk on the ground? Are you a human being? Have you ever eaten an apple? Okay, if you answered yes to any of those questions, all of those things are nature. Crazy, right? I know. All of that is nature. And the cool thing is that before humans were here, all of this stuff was here before us. Before we like came and built all this stuff, which is like totally cool, whatever. But like nature was here for so long, like billions of years before we were ever here. All of these trees and animals and plants and incredible things, like they just existed and they just did their own thing and they just like continued to exist and evolved like without us at all, completely. Like how insanely amazing is that the earth and all the things on it just kind of knew what to do. That's nature, that's instinct, that's natural instinct. That is an incredible thing. And we are still nature. Humans were evolved from nature. We are still a natural being. We still need to eat natural things to survive. So why do we feel so removed from nature when literally every single time you take a breath, you're inhaling nature? I'm not saying that everyone needs to go and live in the woods, whatever. I'm just trying to remind you where you came from and the fact that we need to coexist within nature if we want to exist at all. Nature is not like our parent that we live with and then we finally grow up and we can grow out and move out of it. No. Nature is literally the air we breathe. That is not a metaphor. We literally need to keep breathing, like every single second, or we will die. That is nature. We need to breathe. That's it. Like, that's not a joke. All right, and then let's not forget about the most amazing parts of nature. All of the colors and smells and creatures and their complex ecosystem. Think about like bees. Think about this one tiny little insect and all of their complex things that they do, all the patterns of how they exist, their entire infrastructure. That's amazing. Like, that's just one teeny little part of everything else. Wow. And you know, and we can bring these things to us. We can grow plants from around the world where we live. And we can actually go and visit these amazing ecosystems and these landscapes and these incredible parts of the world. We have the capabilities to do that now. Hopefully in the future it'll become a lot easier for people to travel. That's my intention at least. And just walking around, seeing all these beautiful colors and nature and landscapes and these massive things, the size of them will all astound you. All of these things came from the ground that we are currently walking on. The same ground that has been around for like 4.5 billion years. Billion years, okay? Humanity has been here for like a couple thousand years. So you gotta add 6 more zeros onto that. That's like amazing. That's just been here this whole time. We haven't even... So why are we trying to destroy it? My God, we have no idea the power of nature. Nature can be destructive. It can be completely unforgiving because that's just what nature is. Nature is just life and you make a mistake, you die. Like, whatever, right? Obviously now we have a lot more sentimental value to all of the people because we develop relationships with them, and of course animals have that as well. But nature is unforgiving. And so if we tried to destroy nature, if we tried to overtake nature and be like, oh no, you know what? Humans are just gonna do all of this. We're just gonna recreate nature. We're gonna fail. And the reason we're gonna fail is because once all the resources is gone, we have no water to drink. We have no food to eat. We have no air to breathe. So we will either suffocate or starve to death. And if that's not before we all kill each other over resources. So we don't have to do that though. We can just change things. We can make things sustainable so that humans can live within nature. We don't have to live in nature, but we can coexist with nature. We can still live in our cities and be happy and blah, blah, blah. But as long as nature's still out there providing oxygen, we gotta give a shit about it. And one last thing. I think this is really incredible. But okay, just for a sec, are you standing on the ground? No? Okay, well, like, usually you're standing on the ground, right? Or like you have stood on the ground at some point in your life. Okay, now just think about the fact that we are all standing on the same ground. Whoa. Like, if you think about Earth as like a fist, okay? This is a really terrible Earth, but just bear with me for a sec, okay? So like there's Earth, and there's like crevices, and there's like water filled in these crevices, whatever. But basically, it's all pretty much connected. And we're all just standing here and here and here and here and here and here. We're all standing on the same ground. That is how we are all connected, because we're all standing on the same ground. So if we're all standing on the same ground, then why would we ever want to get rid of that ground for our own personal gain? Because hey, if you get rid of the ground, you've got nothing to stand on either. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If the ground is gone, you're fucked. All we need to do is just be respectful. Just realize that we're all standing on the same ground, and if we want to have a good life, we need to just be respectful and know that the ground's not ours. We don't own the ground. Yeah, we can buy land or whatever, but that's just something that humans made up to make more money. We actually don't own anything. Nature was here billions of years before we even existed, before our little microbes even existed. Well, it was kind of around that whole time. So let's just think about the future, because 5 years ago, this was the future, and now we're here. So the future, it's not really that far off. The future is right now to the past, and the future of now is just going to be soon the present. So obviously we should think about it. So since we're all standing on the same ground, since nature is literally life, since we literally inhale and exhale nature every single second, since we need to drink nature, since trees and all that stuff is super beautiful, and the fact that we will never be able to completely understand nature and all the other ecosystems to replicate it, why don't we just try to exist with it peacefully?